This playthrough is rated M for mature.
You know what time it is after you finish a major job? It's talk to everyone time! Yay! Greetings and salutations, viewers. Vauldemare back here with another episode of Shadowrun Dragonfall. In the last episode, a man who was turned into a machine against his will was given to an organization that would not do what was in his best interest because we gave it to him. Yes, we gave him to the lodge, and, well, we got paid. Well, hopefully we get paid for it, I guess. I mean, we got paid the job, which I guess technically they pay us for it because we didn't give it to our actual benefactors. But hopefully they'll lead us more into the lodge. Hopefully. But anyway, it's time to talk to the crew and see what we've learned next, and to talk to them and see what's going on. So, as you step forward, the rest of your team falls silent. Amsel shifts his attention to you. You can see the worry on his face. Blackwire, I have new information. I'm afraid that the news isn't good. Yeah, I can tell you've gathered the whole team. He nods. Yes, this is something that you all need to hear. Well, go on listening. 2 years ago, a large shipment of a highly lethal radioactive bioweapon disappeared en route to a storage facility in Dresden. The weapon was designated X-15. I traced the path of the missing shipment. It was delivered to the Harfield Manor. That sounds horrible. Sometimes I have to get my voices ready to go, so... It is. I've heard of this stuff before. Back in the service, we called it Doom. I've never run across it in the wild, but I've heard enough horror stories to know that I don't want to. The stories that you've heard are correct. This Doom is an extremely dangerous substance. Well, both. He gestures to a technical document on the computer's display. I've been reading up. To this day, the story of Doom remains a cautionary tale in biotech circles, and in the 7th level circles of hell. Monoclonal antibody technology is strictly regulated now, and this substance is one of the reasons why. What does this stuff do exactly? Amsel clears his throat and reads aloud from the information on the screen. Doom kills by destroying a host's muscle tissue via radioactive decay. Each individual Doom antibody is bound to a radioactive bismuth-212 isotope. When introduced into a host, these antibodies bind to surface-level muscle tissue. The tissue is then killed with alpha radiation. This process repeats itself and the host wastes away and dies. Jesus. Iger nods grimly. I've heard that Doom was deployed in a couple of border skirmishes back in 41. After seeing what it did to the people up close, the UCAS passed a unilateral ban on the stuff. If that doesn't tell you how bad it is, nothing will. Okay, so wrong voice for a second. Okay, so I hesitate to ask, but what would a dragon want with this Drek? Nothing good. That pretty much goes without saying. This development worries me, Blackwire. It worries me greatly. So the dragon has a bioweapon, alright, good to know, but that doesn't change what we need to do. I'm with Backfire on this one. This is interesting, scary even, but it doesn't actually change anything. I mean, it ups the stakes in this fire thing about to carry on with the plans, whatever those might be, but we're going to stop her before that happens. That was always the plan. As far as I'm concerned, it's still the plan now. I agree with Dietrich. We need to focus on what is in front of us. Whatever the dragon's larger plans might be, the fact is that she is after us. We wouldn't let ourselves get distracted by anything else. Amsel is slow to respond, finally nods. Yes, I concur. For the time being, we must continue forward. And that means that you must continue working towards raising Alice's fee. I'll leave the matter in your capable hands, Blackfire. But, use the wrong accent with him. When you require the necessary funds and are ready to head back out to the rabbit hole, let me know. From there, we will discuss our next steps. Iger nods. Good. If you need me, I will get prepped for the next event. Right behind you, Dove. Dietrich casts a backward glance at Glory. If any of this has had an impact on her, she doesn't show it. Come on, Glory, let's go. And now we can talk to all the companions. Now they've all reset. So, and obviously, after every major story implication, you always want to talk to your companions. So, and see what they've got going on. Yeah. Yeah, but at some point you can eventually just pay off Alice's fee yourself if you just want to get on with the plot. But we're going to do every single quest just to show it off, so... see what Blitz is doing. At the sounds of your approach, Blitz stubs out his cigarette. He gives you a cut nod. Blackwire, I'd offer you a smoke, but that was my last one. How's the whole Emily... actually, let's ask him about the last run. Any thoughts about the last run that you'd like to share? His lights light up in excitement. The MK6 was an incredible piece of engineering, Chief. Never seen anything like it before, and the fact that it was rigged and rigger enabled. Oh man, the potential ramifications of the technology are staggering. I'm glad that we handed it over intact. I mean, I feel sorry for the troll that they installed all that stuff into it and all, but as a feat of cyber engineering, it was a thing of beauty. It would have been a pity to destroy it. How's the whole Emily situation work out? Turn up anything? Yeah, well, sort of. It's mostly speculation, truth be told. So what's the deal? Is she working with the Azzies or what? No, I don't think so, but I do have a new lead. After all talk, I went wading into all the Azza technology matrix hubs I could find. Nothing too deep, don't worry. I didn't want to set off any alarm bells, but I had a hunch that if I poked around long enough, I'd find something that might lead me to Emily. And sure enough, I did. A message from the genuine article itself. She messaged you? Sure enough, sent me a note. Want to hear what it says? He presses forward without waiting for a response. I'll tell you. The note said, and I quote, "Lay off, Blitz. I told you to leave me alone. You've shown admirable self-control over the past year. Please don't give up on it now. I'll be back when I can, if I can. Until then, keep away from me, for both our sakes." So I found her, and she wants nothing to do with me. Again. No explanations, no apologies, just a verbal pat on the head. I've shown admirable self-control. Really? She makes it sound like I'm a toddler or something. So, did you lay off what the message said? Hell no! I wasn't gonna stand for that. Where did she get off stealing from me and then acting like it was my fault? I'll try to trace the message like any good Decker would. And did you succeed? No. She's good, Blackwire. Better than I ever thought she was. I couldn't trace the damn thing. I could keep digging, though. I mean, if she noticed me doing it before, it must have been close. Now, before you say anything, I was more discreet this time. I could be subtle if I have to. Nobody noticed when I was doing, and I did find another clue. I hesitate to ask. That's okay, I'll tell you anyway. I found a connection between Emily and Seda Krupp. So, do you think she worked for SK then? That she stole the encrypted data for you to give to them? Well, maybe. I don't know. It's confusing. I was also able to track down some message fragments connecting her to the Schockenreiter. Oh yeah, I have to remind myself to go to the phone booth to turn that in, but we got plenty of time. So maybe she was a Seda Krupp mole, and she got close to me so she could, so she could profit from my decking expertise? Maybe when she told me not to steal that data, she was using reverse psychology. That's gotta be it. She must have wanted me to take it. He frowns and then shakes his head. But then again, maybe she's with the Schockenreiter, and she's screwing both the Azzies and the SK over. If that's the case, then maybe she was with me because she generally wanted to be. He pauses for a moment, considering. Then all at once, he seems to perk up. His chest puffs out too. He nods once, decisively. In either case, I should make an effort to find her. I mean, she's playing a dangerous game, whether she's with SK or the Schockenreiter. Maybe she's gotten herself in too deep. She might need help. I mean, why else would she send me such a cryptic message? I think you should go after her. She's clearly in over her head. What if she needs you? You're right, of course. You're absolutely right. Besides, it's not like she can send me a distress call. Her communications are probably being monitored. I bet that she spent the whole past year waiting for me to come riding in on the rescue. Blitz claps his hands and then rubs them together in excitement. Get set, Chief. You're about to witness an event. When my gung-ho personality and legendary skills come together, the whole world stops and takes notice. Decking 5. I'll give you a hand. If this is as serious as it sounds, you're going to need help. No thanks, Chief. I appreciate it, though. This is something that I need to do alone. Besides which, I'm the best, remember? Technically, I'm better than you, but I know just the place to hit. That same as technology data node that I stole the information from in the first place. I already know where I can get past the security, and my gut tells me that I'll find Emily there. Thanks for the encouragement, Chief. I know that this was the right thing to do, of course, but you've helped me to quiet any lingering doubts I might have had. He nods at you, an expression of supreme confidence on his face. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'll call damsel in distress to rescue. Well, we'll see how that works out, but we won't know about that till we do another major plot one, so. How you doing, Paul? Anything new to say to me? Blackwire, greetings. Amsel peers at you through a battered old pair of wire-rimmed glasses. There's something gentle about the man, with his silver hair and his tweed jacket. He looks more like an aging art history professor than he does a criminal go-between. Is there something I can do for you? I'd like to ask you about another member of the team. If you have questions about your teammates, I'd recommend checking your mission computer. I know that Monica wrote dossiers on each of them. Amsel's voice is sad. She'd be best qualified to tell you about their capabilities anyway. Got a question about the Cruise Bazaar. I think we were asked most of this stuff before, so never mind. I was thinking if there was anything new. Never mind. Sometimes I don't remember every single variation of dialogue, so if that's you need, boss. Any thoughts about the last run you'd like to share? There was nothing about that run that didn't disgust me. What they did to that troll, he shudders. It wasn't right, boss, on any level. Look, I get why you handed the MK6 over. It was the job, after all. But I've been a lot happier if you'd killed that thing. And by the way, they say hand it over no matter if it's the lodge or the actual people, because they don't know any better. So, any updates on Alexander? Nothing to do, boss. He's adjusting. It's just gonna take some time. Back when we took on Humanus, you said that you fought in the Night of Rage. I'd like to hear more about that. He nods, then fishes in his jacket pocket for his flask. Alright, boss. We can talk about it. So I already mentioned that Berlin's punks and Antichrists joined forces to fight off the racists, right? But after a long bloody fight, we beat them. But I didn't know as how I figured it into all of this. I am an anarchist at heart, always have been, but at the time I fit squarely into the punk camp. I was 32 at the time. Mesa Kampf was still touring, and not as much as we did when we were kids, but we had a following. I guess I was sort of an elder statesman for the scene. When we rallied to fight the racist, my followers came along for the ride. Bunch of young kids, all full of piss and vinegar and the mortality of youth. I was full of that good old Dragon Slayer spirit, pissed off and itching for a fight. And so I led those kids into the fray. They waded into the riot right alongside me, yelling and screaming with their fists in the air. I don't remember a whole lot of the fight itself, boss, but I do remember the aftermath. A lot of the kids that followed me had grown up listening to my music. They had all had all my attitude, Blackfire, and none of them had my magic. And youthful enthusiasm is no defense against a knife or a handgun. Yeah, was it, you can do all this stuff, but you have guns and shit, right? I left the punk scene for all the reasons I told you, boss, but there was a bigger reason. I saw it in those kids' broken bodies. This road that I'm on, it leads to the grave. I've got the power to make a leisurely trip, but make no mistake, that is where I'm headed. Those kids tried to follow in my footsteps, and they wound up sprinting ahead of me instead. Better for me to stay out of the public eye and stick to the shadows. My stint as a role model was ill-advised. Have you put any thought to what I said earlier? Yeah, boss, I have. It's an interesting idea, but there are risks. I'm thinking that might not be the best of times to approach him about it. He's the source of my magic, remember? If our discussion turns into an argument, he could take all that my magic back in a heartbeat, and then where would we be? Well, from what you've told me about the Dragon Slayer, I don't think he'd like the way you're talking, since when has he ever encouraged you to back down from a fight? You've got a point there, boss. He wouldn't want me to back down ever, not even from him. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'll ask the Dragon Slayer about shifting priorities. I guess you'd say taking on some deserving organization and calling off the hunt for something more impressive than the Fire Wing. Of course, a fight like that would never really end. I'm never going to bring down a core bully club all in my lonesome. He shrugs, but maybe that's not a bad thing. It'd take a lot of the guesswork out of life. I don't know, boss. If I had any thoughts about this, I'd love to hear them. Let's see. Yeah, why tie yourself up to a specific group? I'd say keep it fluid. Stomp anyone that threatens the Flux. Isn't that what Berlin is all about? He cocks his head. Interesting. That's a different approach, but I like it. Hang on a second, I'll ask. He closes his eyes and concentrates. Minutes pass. Slowly, a smile creeps across his face. Dietrich opens his eyes and turns to face you. Yeah, I think that he'd like this plan just fine. That was it? That was all it took? The Dragon Slayer doesn't mince words, boss. If he didn't like the plan, he'd have told me. Dietrich's grin widens. He looks more at ease than you've ever seen him. Well, boss, I got myself a plan and a new target to boot. That's assuming, of course, that any of it make through our current predicament alive. You know, Dietrich, now that you've got a handle on your connections with the Dragon Slayer, you could probably reach out to your old community again. Berlin's punks could benefit from your experience. He nods. Yeah, boss, I was thinking of the same thing. Maybe I could give back a bit, and fix some of the damage I've caused in my misspent youth, after we finish dealing with the crisis in front of us, that is. It's a good thought anyway. I'll keep it in mind. Nothing right now, Dietrich. Alright, so we convinced his Dragon Slayer to go with the plan of just helping the state in general, so that's good. Anyway, let's see how Iger's doing. Iger glances up from Repeatia and the sounds of your approach. Backfire? This isn't the best of times. Her body language is self-assured, but you can hear the anxiety in her voice. Something has her worried in a big way. Any thoughts on the last run? I'm not gonna lie, Backfire. This one is probably gonna stick with me for quite a while. What they did to that troll was sick. On paper, you did everything right. We did our job to the letter, the client got paid, and everything went home happy. But between you and me, I wish that we could have put the poor creature down. The MK6 was the real live person inside, just like you and me. And we handled him over to Herr Schmidt like a piece of merchandise. This one's going to sit with me for a while. Talk to me, Iger. Something puts you on edge. I want to know what it is. There's a long pause. Finally, she turns her PDA so that you can look at the screen. This. The image that greets you is a holopic of a rail-thin orc with jet black hair. What am I looking at? His name is Yuli Kozlov, but he's better known by his handle, the Engineer. He's a mercenary, ex-Spetsnaz, one of the best in his field. I ran up against him in my KSK days. Tell me more. His specialties are social engineering and vet work. In practice, he spends most of his time paving the way for organized crime syndicates to seize new territory. He sets up bribes, takes out key members of the opposition, and forges alliances with existing street things. All of the groundwork that a syndicate needs. He's extremely bad news, Blackfire, and my contacts spotted him in Shattenest. That's a little too close to the Crow's Bazaar for comfort. Exactly. I've seen what the engineer can do up close. My KSK unit tracked him a few years ago. I told him I had him in my sights on my rifle, and I was ordered to hold fire. We couldn't afford to give away our position. To this day I regret obeying that order. I saw what happened to the town. He was softening up after the syndicate moved on. Blackfire, I have to stop him before it's too late. What happened to that town? It can't be allowed to happen again to Shattenest. Agreed. Do you know who he's working for now? The safest bet would be the Russian syndicate, but there's no telling. His client list is longer than you'd expect. Got any examples? Well, I know for a fact that he's worked for mafia groups and operating inside and outside of Russia, and putting in a lot of time with the Lobachevsky syndicate. He's taken the contracts with the triads as well. My contacts tell me that he's even done a few jobs for Tamanis. That's a hell of a resume. Yeah, it is. She bites her lips and stares at the image of the PDA for a long moment. So, long story short, I'm going to have to step out for mission 02. I know how important it is that we resolve the first ring situation. I get it, but I can't just sit back and let this happen. She shakes her head. I won't. Now, if you're playing the original version of the game, there's really not much you can talk to her and try to convince her otherwise, but she'll still do it, and she'll be gone for like I think an episode or two, but you don't actually get to help her with it and everything. But in the director's cut, we actually can help her on this mission instead. So one of the benefits of this one. So, let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to remember which choice it was. If the Crow's Bazaar is at risk because it's too important a job to rest on the shoulders of one person, I'll go with you. End of story. Alright, Fields Leader, you're right. I could use the help of the others. They can't know about this. This is going to have to be a quiet job, 2 people at max. You're sure you're prepared for this? If you can't hold up your end, it'd be better to go off on my own. Don't worry about me, I'm solid. Yeah, I know you are. Grab your things and meet me at Dare Vine Killer. I've got a contact who's going to join us there, and we can help us figure out the next step. Alright, and that's the Glory. That's the Iger side quest, so... Alright, let's talk to Glory now. Glory favors you with a weak smile, her expression cautious. You're suddenly aware of how very small she is. Hey, Blackwire, I've got to admit, I've been dreading this. So now that you know what I've done, what I am, are you here to tell me off? I wouldn't blame you if you were. Any thoughts on the last run? A tinge of red crawls up Glory's neck. Blackwire, look at me. She extends her sculpted metal arms, chrome glints in the flickering light. I'm not far from being what that portrait was when I think of what they did to him. She looks at you in the eye, transfixes you with her gaze. You handed him over, Blackwire, like a piece of merchandise, like a thing. We shouldn't have done that. I should have stopped you, but I didn't. I didn't like what that says about me. Well, too bad. You can piss off the other characters enough. I mean, you might not be able to get their side quest if you piss them off during their conversations at base, but when you do it in missions, it doesn't matter. So it's all roleplay. No, Glory, I'm not here to tell you off. Truth be told, I wanted to check in and see how you were doing. Not great, struggling. Not about how you'd expect. We left off in a bad place last time. I've been thinking about your story and I have a question for you. Yeah, what is it? You've escaped from Harrow, but he's still out there. If you're looking to atone for your past, don't you think that shutting him down would be a good place to start? She holds her silence for a long time. Finally, she nods. Yes, I've been thinking about this for a long time, Blackwire. Every time that I've gotten close to making a decision, I've turned and run away again. No more running. I'm ready to face this thing, and I can't do it alone. I'm going to need your help. I'm glad that we're on the same page. Alright, if we're going to do this, we need to be clear on what our goal is. There are a lot of innocent people in that place. Lost street kids who got sucked in by Mata and the other girls like her. Saving them won't be easy, but it feels like the right thing to do. But then, there's also Harrow to consider. I want that man dead. Lord knows he deserves it, and if we don't make killing him our top priority, he might get away from us. If that happens, if he runs, he'll eventually start up another cult somewhere else, where we can't find him, and all of this will have been for nothing. We're likely to run into other complications as well, so I think we should need to make a decision here up front. What would you do in my place? Rescue the kids or take down Harrow? I don't think we can manage both. Basically, this varies on the quest, like how you want to do it. So, like what's top priority and stuff like that. So, it's really up to roleplay purposes. I know there's some slight differences in it, but that's up to you how you want to do it. But freeing the kids should be our first priority. We said we raid first trail, round up the runaways, and clear Harrow's influence from the mines. Killing them will have to be secondary. I hate giving Harrow the chance to escape, but you're right, saving the kids is what is important. She pauses, considering a choice. A smile fits across her lips. This feels like the path to redemption. This feels right. Glad to hear that we're in agreement. When you're ready to go, meet me at the van. It's a long drive from here to the Schonenbunch. She nods. Right, I'll get to my things. Oh, and thanks, Blackwire, for everything. Alright, let's check the computer now that we've talked to everyone. Alright, let's see, we got a new inbox. Let's check it. One last DVD. The screen flickers to life and Leet's face appears. She wears a plastic smile. Oh, hi again, Blackwire. Well, I've recovered one last DVD for you, but I'm afraid that's all you're going to get. You might as well use the rest as coasters. They're all beyond repair. If you look at the table beside your DVD player, you'll find the discs I salvaged. She pauses, a slight frown across her face. To be completely honest, that was a lie. To recover this last disc, I was forced to subcontract. Shorty is still a brute of a man. I'm unimpressed with his manner, and his poor hygiene disgusts me, but he's very good with old things such as this. I'll credit where it's due. The message ends and the image fades. You find yourself back to your inbox. So now you can find the last DVD, and if you listen to the last DVD, you get an achievement for that, for those who are curious. Let's see. Jobs directory. Claim the payment for the MK6 prototype extraction. You submit the job is finished and wait your client's response. A few minutes later, a message pops into the screen. Herr Schmidt to Blackwire. Here's your money. Don't ever contest again, Schmidt. P.S. When your new friends turn on you, I'm going to spit on your grave. A moment later, a second message pops into your inbox. Your payment details. Payment, $22,500. Deductions, $6,000. Ammunition, $1,500. Automatic deduction, $250. Final total to us, $3,750. But yeah, they got pissed, and yeah, since there were never going to be any more jobs from these guys anyway, you can choose whatever and be fine. So, all right. Now let's see what the BBS has to offer. Do we have it? I think we do. Yeah. No. Okay, never mind. Okay. Let's see if there's any keywords going on. Thread. Help me find my daughter. Please help me find my daughter. She ran away from home. She is human in her early 20s with short blonde hair and a data jack. She was last seen wearing a light blue dress. This is not exactly the place to be looking for missing kids. How do you even get in here? I paid good money to get on here. I was told you people could help. If you got the need, you came to the right place. I've sent you a number that you can reach me at. The old help me find my missing kid routine, a classic. My money is on escaped wage slave. Make sure you do your homework, Ruby. And core tracers. Anyone have a good backup plan for when you get stuck with a tracer? Barely managed to bug out of my apartment after a core hit squad came knocking. Lesson learned. Pat yourself down a couple of times and make sure you don't have a tail. But if I miss something, I'd rather keep my safe houses, safe. I've had good luck with RF blockers. I have a jamming grid set up near my safe house. It protects my signals to a few miles away, where I've got some cameras placed. So when someone shows up, I know they were trying to find me. Then I do a thorough sweep to find the tracker. Sharp, how long does that go on before they give up? R.E. Tolstoy. Usually rules of 3. I keep re-projecting the signal to different locations. In my experience, they give up after the third one in a dead end and stop listening to the RF signal. No more points. Alright. Done with that. Alright, let's listen to that final DVD. And yeah, here's so you can either go down this way to the van, or you can to do Glory's mission, or finish the other stuff. So anyway, let's watch the DVDs. Alright, load the 4th DVD up. soft whirring sound fills the air as the ancient DVD player spins the disc up to speed. The scratch LCD display comes to life and a menu fills the screen. Track 1. The DVD player ramps up to speed, filling the air with a shrill whining sound. Green Winter's face appears on the screen. Timestamp on the video reads 2054-28. This is it, the interview. Took some digging to find it, but here it is, my big brother, back in his prime. The note disappears, and for a moment the screen goes blank. Suddenly the image of a new news correspondent flashes onto the screen, accompanied by a brief orchestral flourish. A timestamp in the upper right corner of the screen reveals the date, August 22nd, 2012. Thank you for joining us. We're coming to you live from the ruins of Sangerhausen, the fifth Harz mountain town to be sacked by the Dragon First Ring. Standing by my side is the head Deal Defense, Dr. Adrian Vauclair. Dr. Vauclair has been hailed as a leader in the effort to bring down First Ring and bring down a reign of terror. Dr. Vauclair, tell us about your efforts to bring down the dragon. Killing the monster has proven difficult, to say the least. Her speed and maneuverability in the air are extraordinary. Her skills repel small arms fire, and her breath can melt steel. Our R&D teams have been working around the clock to devise a weapon capable of downing the beast. In the interim, we are providing material support for the Luftwaffe's attempt to shoot it down via conventional means. Herr Vauclair, why are you directing Dale's defense energies to the killing of First Ring? Are there corporate interests at play in this? Corporate interests? No, this is a matter of human interest. Innocent lives are being extinguished at an appalling rate. I'm in a position to help put an end to the slaughter, and so I must. It really is that simple. Dr. Vauclair, you must understand my skepticism. Our viewers aren't looking for a PR statement. They come to us for the truth. I'm afraid that I don't have time to go back and forth on this. Your viewers can think whatever they wish. My concern is helping the people affected by this tragedy. In that case, Dr. Vauclair, I thank you for sharing your valuable time with us. You're very welcome. To the viewers at home, stay safe and watch the skies. Salvation is coming, I promise. Again, that was Dr. Adrian Vauclair, CEO of Dale Defense. Dr. Vauclair is the chief architect of the military's current plan to bring down the Dragon First Ring. Stay tuned for the more late-breaking news in the battle for the Harz Mountains. We'll be back right after. With that, the DVD video comes in, and you find yourself dumped back to the menu screen. Track 2. The display goes blank for a moment, then the face of Green Winters winks onto the screen. There's a look of astonishment on his face. The timestamp on the video reads 2054-1117. Holy shit, I just stumbled onto some of Adrian's old lab notes. I'm not going to say how I came across these. Someone might get hurt if the wrong people watch this. I've checked him against some of Adrian's old handwriting samples, and they're legitimate. Holy shit, this is big. Alright, okay, back up. Slow down. Breathe. He takes a little moment to calm himself. Okay, so these notes, they pretty much confirm something I've always suspected. The Luftwaffe didn't shoot down First Ring. I mean, they tried. They pumped thousands of rounds in the air around her, and they lobbed rockets at her for months. Lost a lot of attack helicopters and firecraft in the process. But none of those things were responsible for taking her down. The Dragonfall was caused by an experimental warhead, one that Adrian and Dale Defense think tank designed. I don't understand the science of it, not even a little bit. From what I could piece together, it looks like they designed some of the sort of chemical radiological agent that acts on the metagame gene. I don't think they fully understand what they were doing. It was 2012 after all. I mean, the process worked, but I don't know if they understood why it worked. Anyway, when a warhead full of this stuff comes into contact with a dual nature creature like a dragon, say, it drives a wedge between the creature's physical and astral forms. The body gets put into a sort of hibernation state, and the spirit is forced out. It also looks like this process can maintain the state of separation indefinitely, and that's a pretty horrifying thought. A discorporated body is supposed to die in a few hours. I've heard horror stories about ghost walking mages getting trapped in the astral plane, unable to rejoin with their meat. I heard they went crazy from the pain. If from what I'm reading is accurate, it's entirely possible the First Wing has been trapped outside of her body for over 40 years. Winters pushes his chair back and slaps the table in front of him. This is why Adrian was always so cagey about the subject of First Wing after the Dragonfall. He knew for a fact that she was alive. Even if only technically. Her body crashed down in the SOX, sure, but she wasn't dead. The government wouldn't let Adrian tell the public about any of this, of course. It interfered with a lie that they were feeding us, that the First Wing was dead, and that everyone was safe, and that people would stop hiding in their basements and go back to work again. But privately, he always said that she was still out there, somewhere deep in the SOX. I'd always thought that he was paranoid, but I was wrong. He knew. So, what does all this mean? It means that the stories I got from the ghost rats suddenly sound a lot more plausible. It means the First Wing is definitely alive, and that Adrian's disappearance is unquestionably tied to her survival. It also means that Germany is in deep shit, because her First Wing is still alive. It's only a matter of time before she rears her ugly head again. Okay, that's enough for one night. I'm gonna go get drunk. The screen abruptly goes back as the video cuts off. A few minutes later, you find yourself returned to the menu screen. Track 3. The DVD player ramps up to speed, filling the air with a shrill whinny sound. Green Winter's face appears on the screen. He looks younger than you've ever seen him, but from the way he's carrying himself, he's clearly drunk. The timestamp on the video reads 2033, 5:15. Look, Adrian, I understand you. Lord knows I do, but you've got to drop this dragon fixation. People are starting to talk. There's a camera cut, and you find yourself looking at the young, handsome Dr. Adrian Vauclair. He wears a slight smile on his face. Oh, they're talking, are they? What a terrible shame. Damn it, Adrian, this is serious. You're a public figure. You could lose everything if you don't keep these ridiculous fairy tales to yourself. Hermie, my theories are not, as you call them, fairy tales. Dragons are real. I saved Germany for one. Have you forgotten? No, of course not. Everyone knows that you killed the Firewing. Stopped, not killed. Fine, stopped, whatever. Winters swipes a bottle off the table in front of him, drains it, and drops it to the floor. Call it whatever you want, but Adrian, you're the only one who knows who's still obsessed with the damn things. There aren't that many of them, and they're not taking over the world. Vauclair's voice is quiet, soft. Such is the cry of the cancer patient, unaware of what's killing him. I'm fine, not to worry. I'll smoke another cigarette. What's the harm? He doesn't see what's happening, but he winds up dead all the same. Winters snorts. Now you're just being maudlin. Look, Adrian. Vauclair shakes his head. His smile has disappeared. You mark my words, Hermie. Within 5 years, corporations and even countries will fall to these creatures, and the worst part is, no one will care. Oh, people will tut-tut about it. There may be a protest or two, but no one will actually do anything to stop them. The immortal, all-powerful, utterly pitiless reptiles will seize more and more of our power, wealth, and territory, and we foolish, short-sighted mortals will never get it back. Green Winters chuckles uncomfortably, raises his hands in the air in a supplicating gesture. Come now, Vauclair talks over his brother's interruption. We could solve the problem, of course, but we, as a species, are unwilling to invest our energy into problems that aren't staring us right in the face. As it was with the climate change, so it was with dragons. I've accepted that, but you can't ask me to stop caring about it. Winter shakes his head. You're helpless, Adrian. Fine. By all means, keep caring. Just keep conspiracy theories to yourself. I'm telling you this for your own sake. Vauclair sighs. He looks incredibly tired. Yes, Hermie, you're right, of course. I must jeopardize my credibility with the masses. Winter's expression turns serious. His voice lowers. It's not just your credibility I'm worried about. Talk is talk, but sometimes... He pauses, shakes his head. Sometimes I worry that you're really going to go back to the SOX. Vauclair's tone softens again. Hermie, Winter cuts his brother off. A new intensity burns his voice. Please, big brother, just drop all this. Stop hunting the Firewing and start living your life again. If you won't do it for yourself, then for Christ's sakes, do it for me. Vauclair nods and looks away from the screen. All right, Hermie, I'll try. The image cuts to static, and you find yourself back at the menu screen. Track 4. A rattling sound fills the air as the disc grinds in its tray. A few seconds later, the screen fills with text. Meet and mate singles dating profile. User at Jolly Green Winters. Last active 1/15/54. Sex male. Metatype human. Ethnicity Caucasian. Body type muscular. Yeah, right. Age 50. Looking for female. Human elf and dwarf. Athletic 25 to 50 or 50 30. I'm looking for a fun-loving guy. I'm a fun-loving guy who's also a great listener. I love hiking, clubbing, and all kinds of pets. I'm looking for a cute, funny, adventurous girl who's down to party. I don't respond to profiles without pics. No orcs, no trolls. Sorry, ladies. The disc rattles again. You find yourself sitting at the main menu. Eject the disc. Well, before he died, we knew what he was into, I guess. So, but anyway, it looks like the team has been taken care of. So let's go to the Vine Keller and see what Iger's little contact has to tell us. So let's head over there. Oh yeah, I also have to turn in the Schockenreiter stuff from the last episode. So let's go to the phone booth. Deliver the AG Chemi project data, drug formula, and visual records. The machine accepts the data upload, and only a few moments later, certified cred stick is spat out of the coin slot. The phone's old LCD readout displays the text. Freedom, equality, information, Shockwell and Ryder. Walk away. Alright. Then we get paid for that, so nice. Alright. Done anything to say? Nope. She does not have any dialogue now. Alright, let's see what the wine killer has to say. And that's where we have to talk to the person there. Let's see if Lucky Strike has anything new to say. Nope, she does not. Okay, cool. Alright, let's see what Bannock has to say. This dwarf has a distinctly Eurasian appearance. He appears up at Iger through almond-shaped eyes. The rest of his broad face is dominated by strong Slavic features. He nods to himself and puts down his mug of soy calf. On the edge of the table, a plate of day-old pie cools in a haze of cigarette smoke. Hoy, Iger. Been a long time. He taps a thumb on the rim of his coffee cup. Keep him busy. You could say that, Blackfire. This is Bannock. He's a friend. The dwarf scoffs. Don't know if I'd go that far. Nothing personal, you understand. If I were to start keeping friends, I might call you one. But in my experience, friendship and obligation go hand in hand. A solitary life is cleaner. She smiles. Professional acquaintance, then. The dwarf nods. Better. Now let's get down to business, shall we? Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. No, sorry. We need intel on the engineer where he's been staying, who he's been working with, and how long he's been in Shuttennest. Whatever you got, we want it. He spears a chunk of pie with his fork, crams it into his mouth, and starts to chew. A moment later, he shrugs. I've had worse. And of course, I'll give you what I can, but I don't know much. I can point you in the right direction, that's all. Just tell us what you can. We'll handle the heavy lifting. The dwarf nods, then fumbles in his jacket pocket for something. A moment later, he produces a weathered paper map, spreads it on the table. All right, what you're looking at is the northwest quadrant of the Shuttennest. This is gang territory, all of it. These days, the whole Kias is being held by Rambach. I've had a run-in with Rambach before. We can handle them. Wouldn't be so sure about that if I were you. The guy that filled the power vacuum when their last leader bid it is a real piece of work. But hey, maybe you're right. I hope so, for your sake. He stabs a meaty finger down the faded silhouette of a building. This warehouse right here is Rambach HQ. That's where the engineer is staying. Wonderful. Iger exhales heavily. If he's staying there, he must have arranged some sort of deal with them. That'd be the safe bet, and they haven't pulled their guns on him yet, so it's fair to assume the negotiations are going well. I'm sure that I don't have to tell you this, but the last thing we need is an alliance between some foreign syndicate and Rambach. No good could come of that. Can't argue with that. Now, I can't tell you who the engineer's working for. You'll have to ask him about that yourself. What I can do is make it easier for you to have a sit-down with him. Bannock reaches under the table and brings up a canvas bag. He places it in front of you and pushes it forward. Don't open that in here. There are people in this room who would kill you for what's in the bag. Look in the bag. Wrapped up in an old con shirt, you find a gadget about the size of a water pistol. It has a rubberized grip and a hair trigger, and it looks something like a futuristic taser gun. What you're looking at is a cyberware deactivator. It's a one-shot tool that can temporarily disable cybernetic devices. Oh, that's pretty powerful. I've had it shipped here at great personal expense from a supermax prison in the UCAS. He traces a twirl in the air with a fork. The war owed me a favor. Iger whistles appreciatively. Very nice, Bannock. They should make this easier. That should make this easier. Not easy. Possible. I wouldn't be giving it to you if the job could be done without it. The engineer is rocking a Delta-grade move-by-wire system. Unless you can shut it down, there's no way in hell you're going to catch him. If we do shut him down, we'll be forced into a state of permanent seizure. He shrugs. Only until he gets the thing up and running again. Deactivate until the same thing isn't the same thing as broken. The dwarf shovels another heaping forkful of pie in his mouth. He chews thoughtfully. Until then, his life will be full of living hell. I can think of worse things to use a bargaining chip. Remember, you need to know who he works for. The more you can take out of him out of his comfort zone, the better. Yeah, that's handy. Making people uncomfortable is my specialty. True words have never been spoken. Thanks for the backup there, Iger. Thanks, Bannock. We'll let you know how things work out. All right, and we got the cyberware deactivator. So let's take off. The healing kit. Don't bother. I'll be watching. All right. Whoops. All right. Well, we got the mission for Iger. We've talked to everyone there. So now all that we have to do is head on to another mission. Which mission will we choose? What awaits us for our companions? Are we going to help Iger or Glory onto the next step of becoming full companions, even though they're already full companions, but you know what I mean. We'll find out next time in the next episode of Shadowrun Dragonfall. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.